Hi, friends. Welcome to a little study of yoga today. I want to explore the eight limbs of yoga as prescribed by the sage Patanjali in the Patanjali Sutras. I have the book right up there. Ashtanga. Asht meaning eight and anga meaning limbs. When I first started studying yoga in one of my earlier teacher trainings back in 2008, I was really amazed to learn that the asana part, the posture, was just one of the eight limbs of yoga. That in fact, when I went to study yoga, I wasn't just signing up for a training and learning how to move my body in ways that would make it flexible and strong. In fact, I was signing up to learn about an entire way of living. I came to find that yoga is an entire science. It is so much more than asana or posture. Asana and posture is just the third limb of yoga amongst the eight limbs. And this system or the science has been designed in such a way that it is supposed to encourage the mind, the body, and the spirit into unity. In fact, yoga is a Sanskrit word, and the meaning of the word is union. Union between mind, body, spirit, living in harmony with one's environment, right? And so these eight limbs really contribute to the entire idea of what yoga is. This system or science is supposed to bring the entire body into harmony. In fact, yoga is a Sanskrit word. It comes from the word yuj, yuj meaning union. Union of mind, body, and heart. But it's not just union of your mind, body, and heart so that you live in alignment, but it's also harmony between your organism, the physical part, the spiritual part, the mental part, the emotional part, in accord with nature, in accord with life. And the eight limbs of yoga are a framework of how to live life. Whether you're on the mat or you're off the mat, you can take these principles, these practices, these wisdoms, and apply to any aspect of your life. So first up are the yamas. The yamas are ethical practices of how we interact and how we relate to the world. Think of them as rules we live by. Not because we have to, but because we want to live a more conscious and a more aware life. So let's break down the 5 yamas. The first one is Ahimsa. Ahimsa quite simply means non-violence, but it's really far broader than just hurting somebody physically. It's also about how you think in your thoughts, right? It actually goes right into the microcosm, out into the macrocosm. So non-violence to yourself through your thoughts. It's non-violence in the world as you interact with the world. It's how you judge yourself or try not to judge yourself at all, right? It's about how critical you are of yourself and how that criticism, that self-doubt, is also an act of violence against the self. So Ahimsa is a beautiful concept. It really took me back to the way I was thinking. It wasn't just, oh, when I'm interacting with the world, am I being aggressive? Am I being a little too assertive? Can I soften somewhere? But it was also, well, am I a little aggressive in my thoughts? Even about myself. This is not good enough, or I could have done this better. Oh, that was so stupid of me. Sentences and thoughts like that, they all contribute to these microaggressions that we carry out towards ourselves. And when we do it to ourselves, it's very easy for us to do it in the world that we are moving around in and interacting with. So one of the small practices of Ahimsa is to just watch your thoughts. Watch yourself when you feel that you are, being harsh on yourself. Ask yourself and inquire, is this necessary? Do I need to judge myself so harshly? Can I just take a step back and let it go and know that I did the best that I could in the time that I did it? Like, a lot of self-compassion is also part of Ahimsa. The second limb of Yamas, the second part of Yamas, the first limb of the 8 limbs of yoga is Satya. Satya means truthfulness. Truthfulness in everything. What I love about yoga and what I love about Sufism, and both these sciences I've been studying for the last 15 years, I actually started studying them together without realizing that both of them would enrich my life as much as they did. But what I love about yoga, which has an overlap with Sufism and a lot of Eastern traditions, I want to say, is the fact that everything starts with yourself. Everything starts with your inner world. There is no world outside that you have to go and receive from or give to. But this right here is an entire universe that you start with. So when we talk about Satya as one of the yamas, Satya means truthfulness, but truthfulness not just in practicing speaking truthfulness all the time, but also in being truthful to yourself, in your moments of quiet, in your moments of self-reflection, having the courage to be honest with yourself and accepting where you falter, where you failed, where you've been strong, where you'll be better, how you're working harder. Again, not a critical voice, not a voice of judgment within, but rather a voice of compassion, like Ahimsa, practicing the first part of the yamas and weaving it in with the second part of the yamas, which is Satya. How authentic am I? Am I showing up as my authentic self in every circumstance, in every moment, in every event of life? A practice that you can do of Satya on a daily basis is asking yourself before you speak, am I being authentic to myself? Is this my truth as I'm speaking it? The third part of the yamas is Asteya. Asteya means non-stealing. Non-stealing, we mean not just taking something from another person that doesn't belong to you, but also not hoarding. Knowing that we came into this world alone and we're going to leave alone. We don't take anything with us. So having a slightly, I don't want to say the word detached, but I do want to say having a slightly lighter foot in the world. Not looking at everything as a possession to be owned, something to be taken, but rather just being in the flow of life and accepting things as they come and accepting as they go. Also, when we're constantly seeking what others have, we're constantly missing out on the occasion to feel contented within, to feel gratitude within, because what we have is what works for us. What they have is what works for them and what they have capacity for. So to just recognize what you have and to be content with it and to be grateful for it is Asteya. So a little practice of Asteya that you can do on a daily basis is to really practice being thankful for what you have, where you already find yourself in life right now. Just accepting this is who I am, this is where I'm at, and I'm accepting all that is present here in my life, just the way it is. The fourth yama is Brahmacharya. Brahmacharya quite simply translates to celibacy, but it's not just celibacy from sex. It's celibacy from thoughts that are harmful for you, from practices that are harmful for you. So even if something gives you a lot of joy, knowing that overindulgence in anything tilts the balance, tips the scales, and when we're off balance, we're not ourselves, we're misaligned. And a lot of our practice, whether we're yogis or just human beings showing up in this world, is to stay balanced. And of course, it's very natural to keep losing our balance, but Brahmacharya teaches us that if you take the moderate course at all times. So in effect, Brahmacharya is also about energy management. How are you spending your time? Where are you spending your attention? Where are you wasting your resources? When we give ourselves fully to distractions, we end up feeling quite depleted. Brahmacharya is the act of reining your attention in. A small practice of Brahmacharya that you can do is asking yourself, where am I overindulging in my life? Is it too much exercise? Is it too much meditation? Is it too much sugary things? Is it too much processed foods? And if I cut down on whatever I feel I'm overindulging, I'm trying to bring myself, my organism, my life into more of a balance. The last part of the yamas is Aparigraha. Aparigraha means non-possessiveness, not being ravaged by this hunger to possess and to hoard and to own a lot, right? We live in a world that keeps telling us we need more, we have to own more, we must want more. But what that does is it creates the circumstances of you being like a hungry ghost, never being satisfied with what you have. The teaching of Aparigraha tells us to just step back and to be content with what is right now. True peace comes from the skill of letting go, of not holding on too tightly, of letting life unfold naturally. A small practice of Aparigraha is just taking a minute to focus on what it is that you attach too much to. Whether it's a limiting belief, whether it's a possession, whether it's an idea that you are a little too attached to. Practice letting go a little bit. Give yourself a little space, a little room, and see how you feel. You will find that you have in fact freed yourself of the weight of attachment.